Crisis report. Doesn't look good for the ceasefire. Seems that the ceasefire is crumbling. Now, we have heard this before, but some very trusted channels that get good information are saying it, and there's definitely been a lot of action going on in southern Lebanon via the Israeli Air Force. So I'm not going to get, I'm going to let you guys, listen to the whole broadcast, but basically there was a lot of conjecture, not conjecture, but a lot of conversation between Netanyahu and Biden, and there's a lot of talk about the hostages. They're getting close. We're getting close. We got an idea. We got a framework. Got a framework. Keep saying that. There's a framework. And then all of a sudden, the IDF just starts bombing the crap out of southern Lebanon. So this is what I think happened, okay? And you can listen in and you can make your own assessment. I think what happened was they were talking to him, and one of them pulled some ish. Whether that was Hamas, Israel, both, I don't know. But we all know that there's supposedly only 25 to 35 hostages left, okay? Israel, I think, thinks that it's just basically at this point there's not really no one left. And so they're kind of leading them along so they can get prepped for big military action. Because imagine you're sitting there, let's do the deal. Let's do it. And then, Hamas is like, we got, the car that was going to bring them to you guys, it's got a flat tire. Hold on. There's just some crap. I think everybody knows that there's not many hostages left, if there are any left. And they're all kind of playing around with it just to buy themselves time, because eventually a larger war is going to break out. And that's what I think is about to happen. Okay? So there you go. That's kind of the thing. So I'm going to go through the information, and I will let you figure it out for yourself. Why? Because you're smart. I give you the information, and then you do with it what you will. What can I do with this prepper now? Well, you can figure out that major war is going to be going. 2025 is already an ish show, and you're paying $8 for eggs. So I don't know about you, but I'm acting accordingly. So there's a wealth of eggs in this house, and I assure you, I didn't pay as much as most people do. No, I got to go out and get some feed, from time to time. I actually do for more than for my piggy. But, hey, it is what it is. Yes, I have a pig as a personal pet, but if something really got bad, you really think it's outside the realm of possibility of me turning that pig into a few months of food? I'll do it. I'll eat him before I'll eat my dog. And even my dog is, not outside the realm of possibility. I'm talking hardcore circumstances here. Okay, I'm not saying I forgot to buy bacon at the store and so I'm going to turn him into bacon. Holy crap. Lonnie Beatty, bro. I don't ever think I've seen that much of a super chat. You sure you didn't put an extra zero on there or something? I mean, you can rescind that, man, if you want. I mean, far be it from me not to. Wow. Are you drunk, dude? You fully can take that back. You do not have to give me that money. I appreciate it. My God. But if you made an extra zero, I think there's a way to resend it. Resend it. You screwed up. So, Lonnie did just save the pig. Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. Lonnie, I'm sorry. Well, all right, man. Well, I get it. I actually have a awesome subscriber that on Subscribestar every month gives me $100. He's a good dude. I don't know. I'm just trying to put out good information for people, really. So it's it's not paying the mortgage, but it's definitely helping with the kids' school. Helps put I basically tell my wife that. She's like, "Oh, Johnson, why are you doing YouTube?" It's like, well, it helps pay for the kids' school. It's a Christian education. So when you guys, PrepperNow, just know that like you're helping me put my kids through Christian school and turning them into good human beings. So there actually is an investment that way. So I really appreciate it. That's why I come on here every night. I do it for them. I want them to live in a good world. But same time, I take my winnings and I put them over in their education. So, Lonnie, thank you very much, man. That's incredibly gracious of you. I really appreciate it. Tonight, we dedicate this to your wife who is no longer with us, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Lonnie's been around for a long time. Really has. So, all right, well, enough ado about all that. Let's get going. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is killing major DEI programs effective immediately. Biden will deliver a farewell address to the nation from the Oval Office Wednesday, January 15th at 8 p.m. I'm sure you'll all tune in. Iran State TV is showing guards chief touring the underground missile base. There's supposedly a new Super Daddy underground missile base that they're showing off to people. I think they're worried that there's about to be strikes because they're supposedly about to go nuclear. Yeah, there's a war brewing, folks. Zelensky says he spoke with Biden, thanked him for support in the Biden administration, and has steadfast in its support for Ukraine, announcing almost $6 billion in new military and budget assistance last month ahead of Trump's return. So thank you, Mr. Joe, for sending $6 billion to Zelensky. Illegal drone left a fist-sized hole in a Los Angeles firefighting plane, according to the fire chief. Wonderful. Mark Zuckerberg ordered Meta offices in New York, Texas, and Silicon Valley to remove tampons from the men's bathrooms. Okay. Firefighter reveals 2 men were caught on camera lighting fires just before the Palisades blaze erupted in Los Angeles, according to the Daily Mail. Los Angeles wildfires in figures, 11 people dead. That number's going to go way up. 10,000 buildings destroyed, 20 arrested, 180,000 people evacuated, 150 billion in damage. Zelensky says forces captured 2 North Korean soldiers in the Kursk region of Russia. A volcano has erupted in Indonesia, spewing hot lava and smoke. 2 months after Kamala Harris's defeat, the Harris Victory Fund she set up with the DNC is still charging monthly recurring donors. It's silly, out of touch, and needlessly takes advantage of our most loyal supporters, one Democrat operative said, according to Politico. So I don't know what the hell they're doing to do with the money, but it's kind of uncool if you think about it. It's actually really uncool. You lost. Shut it down. Azusa police arrest a man for allegedly arson at a Pioneer Park in L.A. Jose Carranza Escobar admitted to starting the fire, NBC Los Angeles reports. A possible burglary was reported on Saturday in Brentwood at the home of Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay. Trump calls California leaders incompetent over the fire response. There's a lot of people doing that. 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Mexico. Diddy's Los Angeles mansion has stood untouched as flames rip through the surrounding area. So good for P. Diddy. Looter dressed as a firefighter to prey on L.A. fire victims, according to the police. What an asshole. What a jerk. Los Angeles fires. Death toll rose to 24, according to the coroner. AFC wildcard game between the Steelers and the Ravens was temporarily halted after an NFL security spotted a drone hovering over M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Yep. It's a matter of time before someone has like a major attack from drones. Something's going to happen with that. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass announces that Trump will be visiting the state. California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed an executive order allowing fire victims to bypass bureaucratic red tape to quickly rebuild their homes and build back better. How about you just put in new legislation that puts that crap out of business? You know, like the regulation of government. Just gets rid of it forever. FBI Director Christopher Wray warns that China, prepared and positioned to launch an attack on our critical infrastructure. Yes, folks, that's going to happen at some point. Again, why you should be prepping. Excuse me. Ukrainian President Zelensky has offered to send 150 Ukrainian firefighters to assist in California. How about you just give back their firefighting equipment? You're clearly going to need soldiers on the battlefield. We'd like our fire trucks back. I think it's a win-win. Residents in California have received new emergency alerts urging them to evacuate their homes due to a forest fire. Wow, what a stress-free environment that must be. American Vice President-elect J.D. Vance admitted that the U.S. wants to take Greenland from Denmark for its natural resources. Quote, Greenland is very important for America strategically. It has a lot of great natural resources. I think there actually is a real opportunity here for us to take leadership. I mean, it's honestly because it's strategic positioning for the Arctic and the North Atlantic. So it's, yeah, they really want it. We'll see. Poland closed skies for the Slovak delegation who was flying to Moscow. Because of this, they had to change the route and fly over the Czech and German airspace. EU is cracking on all sides. Yes, it is. Large-scale fires continue in Los Angeles. There's a risk of fire spreading due to stormy weather. Winds will increase on Monday. Death toll has now risen to 24. Fire has destroyed or damaged at least 12,000 buildings. Polish politician Grzegorz Braun will run for president in 2025. He previously told Israelis and the United States that they will no longer control the world and European governments and that the end is coming. Interesting. Okay. Israel ends a ceasefire with Lebanon and Hezbollah. Mass bombings across Lebanon for hours. That's where I got the idea. This is Megatron. Megatron has a very solid presence all over. He does not just like... He's not hyperbolic. Like he puts... I've never gotten bad information. So when he put it out there, that's when I started to look around. It's like, whoa, what's going on with this? This is bad. Now, there was already kind of an idea that, you know, the 26th was the last day. There was an idea that this thing was going to come to an end here pretty soon, that we're going to make it the full time. But now it's not official, but it's not looking good. 7 people were killed and another 65 were injured in an explosion at a household gas sales station in the Al-Baida province of Yemen. Following rocket fire from the Gaza Strip, an IDF spokesman in Arabic calls on residents of neighborhoods in Nusrat in the central Gaza Strip to evacuate their homes ahead of the IDF activity in the area. Palisades fire expanded by 1,000 acres overnight, now threatening Brentwood in Los Angeles, where many, including actor Dennis Quaid, are evacuating. A significant flare-up caused rapid fire growth, prompting nonstop firefighting aircraft efforts to protect homes. Ukraine's military intelligence claims that Russia is being prevented from entering the port of Tartus and removing weapons from Syria. In one of the Russian ships waiting in the Mediterranean is suffering from a fuel leak. Satellite images show a traffic jam of about 15 oil tankers near the port of Ras Issa, locating in the Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. This port was attacked on Friday by Israel, and according to reports, The tugboats were destroyed. The oil tankers cannot dock at the port. Port of Ras Issa has become an alternative port for the Houthis to import oil after the port of Al Hodeida went out of use due to the previous attacks. According to estimates, the tankers currently stranded in front of the Yemeni port are transporting oil from Russia. Failed terror attack. Well, IDF forces arrested 2 of those bad people affiliated with the Islamic Jihad in Nablus last night who were in their vehicle and on their way to carry out a mass shooting attack. President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu are speaking on the phone about a hostage deal. Oh my God, it's going to happen. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's going to yeah, we don't know. And this is kind of where things started to go sideways. Okay. Let me save the suspense. Hamas hasn't moved an inch from its original demands. Stop the war and remain in power. These terrorists wouldn't have even provide a list of the living hostages. Now, this is Amir Sarfati, so he's not a fan of theirs, but he is right. When he says there's going to be a hostage deal, there probably will be one, but this is all for the papers. Biden is pushing Israel for more concessions and threatens sanctions. However, rest assured that Hamas will not miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. We must make sounds of flexibility in order to appease the current stupid liberal progressive administration. Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister Netanyahu has spoken with the U.S. President Joe Biden. The Prime Minister discussed the American president and the progress in negotiations for the release of the hostages and updated him on the mandate he gave the negotiating delegation to Doha, Qatar, to promote the release of our hostages. The Prime Minister wished to thank U.S. President Biden and incoming President Donald Trump for their cooperation in the sacred mission. White House statement following the Biden-Netanyahu conversation. The parties discussed the ceasefire outline and the hostage deal, as well as changes in the region following ceasefire in Lebanon, the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, and the weakening of Iran in the region. The president emphasized that the fighting in Gaza must end as soon as possible and that humanitarian aid must be increased. Pay attention to the last section. The Biden administration is criminal in its demand to end the war before Hamas is finished and keep sending food to Hamas, who will steal it and say stay strong. So, obviously, Amir is not a fan of that. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy has met with his Syrian counterpart. The foreign minister of the new regime in Syria during an international conference on the Syrian issue hosted by Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. It's amazing to see how the world is falling for a non-elected regime made of Al-Qaeda, ISIS terrorists. I would agree. IDF releases additional footage from last Friday's strikes on Houthi military targets in Yemen. The footage includes aerial refueling as well as the radio communications during the strike. Mark Zell, an international lawyer, vice president of Republicans overseas, and the chairman of its Israeli branch, wrote on X, there are rumors now here in Israel that President Trump is trying to get Prime Minister Netanyahu to agree to a hostage deal which will ultimately preserve Hamas in Gaza in order to deal with Iran. If true, and I hope it's not, Bibi needs to stand firm. President Trump is an extraordinary negotiator. He wants the war over before January 20th, but he also wants to keep his promises. Hamas must be destroyed and Iran's nuclear threat eliminated. That last point is the main one. Iran's nuclear threat eliminated. I think at some point in the not-so-distant future, there is going to be a strike on Iran. Reports in Lebanon and several IDF attacks on a number of locations. Israeli attacks targeted in 4 waves the valleys located between the towns of Arab Salim, Khumin al-Faqa, Der al-Zakhrani, and Rumin. We attacked border crossings between Lebanon and Syria, 2 more Hezbollah military sites that have terrorist organizations which have requested the Lebanese army to handle, and they did not. Major bombing of Hezbollah targets in Der al-Zakhrani a short time ago, southern Lebanon. Notice the amount of rockets exploding there. All of them were on their way to our border. Trump's designated vice president, Vance, begins to detail what will happen if Hamas does not return the kidnapped by the beginning of next week. Full authorization for the IDF to eliminate all Hamas forces in the Gaza Strip, aggressive sanctions, including financial ones, against all terrorist organizations in the Middle East. That's not hell, it's barely a joke. It won't scare them. They thought it would be worse. IDF, over the past hours, the IDF conducted intelligence-based strikes on a number of Hezbollah terror targets in Lebanon. Prior to the strike, the threat posed by the targets to the Israeli home front and IDF troops was presented to the monitoring mechanism of the ceasefire understandings between Israel and Lebanon, and the threats were not addressed. Amongst the targets struck were a rocket launcher site, a military site, and routes along the Syria-Lebanon border used to smuggle weapons to Hezbollah. IDF continues to act to remove any threat to the state of Israel and will prevent any attempt by the Hezbollah terrorist organization to rebuild its forces in accordance with the ceasefire understanding. So, this kind of tells you what's going on. This is the IDF. Intelligence-based strikes on a number of Hezbollah terror targets. Prior to the strike, threat posed by the targets to Israel home front presented, and the threats were not addressed. So this is kind of their explanation why they think that the ceasefire is done. They basically said, we were presented with things that were supposed to be within the realm of this ceasefire. They went outside of it. So instead of waiting for crap to happen, we made crap happen on our end so we could control the situation. And that's when they went in and they started to strike. They went after a rocket launcher site, military site, Syrian-Lebanon border. They're trying to close that down. There's obviously a lot of conjunction going on there. So just, again, you're going to hear about all this tomorrow. Why? Because when you're on the crisis report, you're going to hear about this stuff 12 to 24 hours before. Trust me. There's not a day that goes by that I don't hear very good channels. I'm not saying anything about them. My method is my method, and I have yet to find anybody that can do and find and put out there early like I do. So, tomorrow you're going to hear about this. It's a big story tonight. New fire has been reported in southern Los Angeles near Harbor City within Ken Malloy Harbor and Regional Park. Flames are clearly visible from the Chino Hills West 1 camera. If you're asking me what Trump should do to really hurt Hamas, I have one answer. Allow and even encourage Israel to completely clear northern Gaza and build Jewish communities there. This will hurt them the most. Now, this is Amir Sarfati, so he's all into that kind of stuff. Bundestag MP Savim Dagdalin called for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Germany during the Federal Congress of the Sarach-Wagenknecht Union for Reason and Justice Party in Bonn, stated, "We just can't afford 37,000 troops in Germany anymore," emphasizing a need for change in Germany's military presence. Dagdalin's remarks reflect a growing sentiment against foreign military bases and advocate for greater national sovereignty. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced the deployment of firefighters and emergency personnel to Southern California to assist with the ongoing wildfire outbreak. Decision follows a request from CAL FIRE, and over 135 personnel, along with fire engineers and equipment, are being sent to support firefighting efforts. FBI Director Christopher Wray has issued a stark warning regarding the increasing threat of Chinese cyber attacks on critical infrastructure of the U.S., stated that the Chinese hackers are strategically positioned to cause significant disruption, targeting essential services, electrical grids, water treatment plants, and oil pipelines. Wray emphasized that these actions could lead to real harm for American citizens if China decides to strike. Iran has agreed to send 1,500 drones to YPJ-PKK terror group in Syria to counter Turkey's military operations. New Syrian government is now allowing Russian ships to enter Tartus to evacuate the military equipment of the Russian armed forces. There are 3 Russian ships near the port, logistic ship Sparta, large landing ships Ivan Gren and Alexander Otolkovsky. To prevent the seizure of military equipment in the port, the Russian command has ordered the burning of some equipment. Preparations are ongoing for the Trump-Putin meeting. Trump's national security advisor Mike Waltz announced the United States recently announced new sanctions against Russian oil giants and their subsidiaries. Sanctions also target companies and ships that are thought to be involved in the Russian shadow fleet and flags of different countries. Lists of new Russian companies sanctioned by the U.S. by Clash Report. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan met with the Syrian Foreign Minister Assad al-Shabani in Riyadh. Today's national security advisor, Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, said Trump believes that the idea of ousting Russia from all Ukrainian territories is unrealistic. Other world leaders are beginning to understand this position. Vice President of Iran for Strategic Affairs, Javad Zarif. We have no proxies. We only offer moral support and seek no conflict with Israel. Okay. Zelensky, Ukraine is ready to hand over the North Korean prisoners to Kim Jong-un if he can organize the exchange for Ukrainian soldiers who are held prisoner in Russia. For those soldiers from North Korea who do not want to return, there may be some other ways. In particular, those Koreans who show a desire to bring peace closer by spreading the truth in Korean about this war will be given such an opportunity. Interrogation of the captured North Korean soldiers. Ahmed al-Shara declares Syrian revolution is over and that the next years must be spent to rebuild the country after a decade of war. Already the relevant ministers are citing the issues and problems they are facing. Trade Minister, for example, states that the industrial and agricultural sector have been totally wiped out and made irrelevant by the former government. A large wave of Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon in violation of the ceasefire has happened. IDF says it is targeted border crossings between Lebanon and Syria and 2 alleged Hezbollah sites, which Israel claims the lesbian. Sorry, that slipped out. They claim the Lebanese army did not dismantle. I'm actually surprised that's never happened before. Sorry. Ukraine. Yeah. And we're back. In the area around Kharkov, Russians have captured the village of Yamtaner along the Suki Yali at the same time. U2, Z695, Silver Radio, yep. Same time, artillery preparations continued in Dachny, and Ukrainian forces report Russian attacks on the eastern part of Andriivka in the direction of Pokrovsk. The Russians have made tactical gains in several places. Infantrymen are moving closer to Udachny and Kotulin. The village of Zholen is also reported to have fallen after a pincer maneuver. Ding, 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 ding. In the ruins of Toretsk, the Russian attacks are now concentrating on the mine, Ukrainians' last bastion in the area. In the north of the Oskil River, the Russians have established another bridgehead and captured the village of Kolyanyov. The flanking of Kupiansk and the north continues. They want to put nukes, bombers, and DUMBs in Greenland. Those are deep underground military bases. Fire crews around. There's already dumbs in there, man. You ever see the movie Greenland, dude? Yeah. Fire crews arrive in downtown Los Angeles to try to stop the spread of fires in the area. The Iranian army begins air defense drills to protect nuclear facilities in Fordow and Kandab. During the exercises, missiles, radar, and electronic warfare units, air defense systems, as well as manned and unmanned aircraft, will practice offensive and defensive missions. Trump is ready to lift restrictions on long-range weapons for Ukraine to bring Putin to the negotiating table, according to Waltz. U.S. is ready to introduce energy sanctions to help Ukraine. Preparations are underway at a meeting between Trump and Putin. Trump believes that an agreement on Ukraine is possible without dialogue with the Russian Federation. A telephone conversation between Trump and Putin could take place in the coming days or weeks. It is unrealistic to say that Ukraine can expel the Russian armed forces from Crimea. I'd agree. Romania, mass protests today in Bucharest against the decision to annul the election results in which far-right pro-Russian politician Georgescu, who has gotten most votes. About 60 to 70,000 people demanded the resignation of President Iohannis and Prime Minister Sioliacu. Police have cordoned off the air entrance of the presidential palace. President Joe and Netanyahu were speaking on the phone. There's an earthquake in San Jose, 3.7 to 4.2. It's felt across the entire Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Rosa. All shakers. Maybe the sun is doing something. Might get to that in a moment. U.S. Vice President Vance expressed confidence that Trump would be able to reach an agreement on Greenland, and it would become part of the U.S. without the need to use military force. American troops are already stationed on Greenland's territory at the Thule Air Base. Trump calls on Zelensky to lower the draft age in Ukraine to 18. We are determined to witness in the next week's extraordinary situation a ceasefire deal between Tel Aviv and Hezbollah. Sure. Israel and Tehran preparing for strikes on Iran. Yeah, maybe. Netanyahu insists on the right to fight against Hamas despite Trump's demands. All that might happen. X went down, many users worldwide. Seems it was about 5 to 7 minutes. Could have been considered an attack by CIA servers or a DDoS or just a really bad 5 minutes. Unofficial reports of Hezbollah missile launchers are being activated. Israeli warplanes continue their raids on the eastern mountain range in the Bekaa Valley, north of the Litani River, amid intensive flights over many areas. Biden receives scathing approval rating before leaving office. Approve, 28%. Disapprove, 66%. Turkish aircraft attacked Dishrin Dam, endangering water and electricity supply for 4 million residents in northeastern Syria. Ataturk Dam is now a legitimate target for pro-Kurdish groups. Massive explosion in IRGC-affiliated chemical plant in Qom, Iran. Nurse is in critical condition after being stabbed by, quote, a member of the public, end quote, at a hospital in Greater Manchester, England. A new Israeli airstrike hit the vicinity of the border town of Mutraba between Lebanon and Syria, and there's been several Israeli sonic booms over southern Lebanon. Sounds like the ceasefire's not going to hold. Maybe it will, but it's not trending right. So that is your crisis report for January 12th, 2025. If you're a member here, that's awesome. If you're not, that's okay. It's only $2 a month. You should change your mind. I'd like to thank Lonnie Beatty for the largest tip I've ever gotten on YouTube. That is absolutely freaking nuts, dude. So thank you. Sorry about your wife passing away, and hopefully this is a good spending of money. I'll do my best. Other than that, the intel keeps going on. You can check me on Gab, Minds, Twitter, X. What else? Gab, Minds, X. Truth Social. That too. Subscribestar and Locals have had some stuff put on there. Not as much as they usually do, but not much less. But yeah, that's about it. Join me on Substack too. Join me everywhere. Become a member. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you all. Stack, stock, stick to the plan. Keep your hands full when you powder dry. And we appreciate you coming by. The Crisis Report by PrepperNow. We'll see you on the next one.